You've unlocked a Roundtable.
Welcome to the Roundtable discussion of Miracles of Heaven.
No, shut up. No.
The latest Jennifer Garner movie.
It's actually a sequel to Elektra.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because, Daredevil just came out, so. Based on the true story, we've seen the trailer for it. We feel like that's all we needed to see.
Essentially.
So that's what this review is.
Okay. Let's go with that.
All right. No, in all seriousness, this is the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
V stands for verses, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Well, it doesn't say verses, though. It says V.
I know. I'm just letting the ill-informed listeners out there know.
Yeah, you sound like crap today. How are you feeling?
My throat is fucked.
Apparently. With me, as always, is Alex.
Hi. He's going to be doing most of the talking.
You sound amazing right now. I'm Chris Levon. With our roundtable discussions, we go into a non-spoiler review, go through our credits, and then go into the we go into the spoiler section.
No, we do 2 non-spoiler sections.
How lame would that be?
It'd be really lame.
But yeah, this type of movie, everybody's seen it regardless of our thoughts on it, so I really wanted...
Fuck, dude, if you're on Rotten Tomatoes looking at 5-star reviews, holy shit, it's entertaining.
That is true.
Wow.
I feel like I need to translate that for our listeners. We were looking at 5-star reviews on Rotten Tomatoes before this podcast and just getting an idea of what everybody thinks about this movie or positively thinks about this movie. Because if you're on the internet, anywhere on the internet, you've seen reviews for this movie and you've also seen the Rotten Tomatoes score pretty much everywhere. And it's been ranging from like 30, 32. Currently, as the time of this recording, it's at 29%. Mm-hmm. Something of note, the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie is, 44%?
Something like that.
To give any indication, it's significantly higher than this movie. So that is interesting. And hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Where do we want to start? This is something that I do want to note too. Is this is our second recording for this? We recorded a podcast right after we saw it with our initial thoughts, and I didn't like it. I thought we were in a restaurant and you couldn't hear us very well.
There were annoying teens in the background,
and yeah, it just didn't sound very good, and we weren't able to really get emotional in it, so it sounded like a very monotone recording. I didn't like it, so Alex and I got together today. We're gonna do a round 2 of this, so hopefully we don't skip anything that we talked about yesterday. But let's start off with you know what? I want to start off at the very beginning of it because I mentioned this. Zack Snyder rips off one of Christopher Nolan's shots in Batman Begins, completely rips it off, and then adds his own little take to it, where it was just so mind-numbing. Like, really, he just ripped that off?
Yeah.
And it just, that's how it started for me. And then I was like, oh no, this movie is going to be bad. And we've read enough reviews now at this point where visually looks fine, but you get to the point when you're looking at movies, you need more than just visuals. You need a story.
Yeah.
You need something to carry you through those visuals for 2.5 hours, because this movie is 2.5 hours long, and definitely feels that because you only get so many visuals.
You only get so many plot points that don't really come to any point.
Yeah, and when people were asking me today, hey, what'd you think of it? I kind of summed it up in easy ways of saying, shit.
The way I basically explained it to people was I said, Zack Snyder does not understand the DC universe at all.
Yeah, I mean he just doesn't get it. He's in the first movie, you have Superman being dark and brooding. He's not a superhero in Man of Steel. That's what I'm referring to. And then now in this movie, throughout, you've had two complete movies now where at the end of it, we're not looking at Superman as a united or universally acclaimed superhero or like a guy that is loved by all. You're kind of split down the middle. Half of the world likes him. Half the world is scared of this alien guy who has superpowers that we have no control over. That's not really the Superman that I know and grew up with. Like, and I'm not a big Superman fan to begin with, but at least I want that portrayal of him. It's way different. And then Batman's portrayal, Ben Affleck, although Ben Affleck did an amazing job in it.
Oh yeah, he does a great job. Like, he plays that role very well.
He was awesome. Like, for all the shit the internet was giving him when they announced it, and the internet went aflame. It almost shut down the internet with all of the bat flack that he got and all the criticism he got for just being cast, not seeing him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he kills it.
Oh, he does. Yes,
he owns this film. If Ben Affleck wasn't Batman in this film, this movie would have been far worse than it actually is. But
I mean, there could have been someone else in there who would have done a good job. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay. But with Zack Snyder, like we kind of touched about it. Like, there's so many different stories in this movie that he tries to start with, and they don't go anywhere throughout the film. And that's the huge problem with it. I feel like he was just sitting around one day, and he's like, you know what? I got this shot idea. It doesn't fit in the movie, but I'm going to film it anyway.
Yeah.
And it stayed in the film.
Because, I mean, that's all I am. I'm a great visual director.
Because it looked cool, you know?
Right.
And I feel like he had at least 5 or 6 of those in this movie where there's a bunch of scenes that didn't need to be in the film, but they looked okay. They looked, that looks like a cool shot.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean anything to the story. Could easily be cut. A 2.5-hour movie, normally you would say, all right, that could have been trimmed maybe 20 minutes or something to make it a tighter film. No, this movie could have been a 90-minute movie and been a tighter film.
Yeah.
There's so much here that doesn't belong in here.
Like, basically anything with Lois Lane.
Yeah, Lois Lane is just, she's there. She's existent.
She's there's this plot thread with her that really doesn't result in anything to carry the story forward. Right.
Like, there's no big reveal. There's no big, like, oh my God, moments for her. And I mean, she's just doing her reporting stuff. And I think that's like, well, she's a reporter, so we have to figure out a way to make her relevant.
And not just a damsel in distress.
So that's kind of what they did with her, because she's supposed to be the strong, independent woman. But then, one of the first scenes that you see with her, she's in a bathtub. And I'm like, are we going to get boob?
We were close getting nip slips, I think.
Like, it was surprising to me. I'm like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be PG-13, but they're filming this, like, any minute now she's going to show a little bit of nip. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. So she's naked, obviously, in the bathtub. And then they share a scene, a conversation about their relationship. And this movie is so...
It turns romantic because they love each other, I guess.
Yeah, but, like, the dialogue doesn't work. Like, it's so clunky.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when George Lucas tried to make a love story in Attack of the Clones?
Kinda, yeah.
And how poorly written that was,
yeah.
And how unbelievable. Like, no one talks this way.
Mm-hmm.
This movie
is on that level.
This movie has those, like, melodramatic moments where it's like, is this a soap opera? Is this supposed to be this bad? I'm not too sure, but this is bad.
It is. There is no chemistry between them.
Yeah, well, there's no chemistry in it because the Superman is so wooden. They don't give him emotion. They don't let him do anything. He's just this dark and brooding guy who just doesn't... He's not invoking anything when he's not bringing anything to the table.
Right.
It's really just strange how they decided to depict him. And I thought that maybe they changed it because they got so much backlash from Man of Steel regarding certain elements of it. Obviously, Superman destroying Metropolis in a fight and not taking the fight away from it, which in any superhero movie, that's like one of the first things they do is like, let's take this fight away from the city.
Right.
To get away from them. Like, no, we're just going to destroy Metropolis and burn everything. So they make it a point in this movie several several times to say they're taking the fight away from the city, or we're in an abandoned area. There's no people around. Or we're taking this fight over here.
It's not inhabited. Don't worry. No
Yeah.
one's going to get harmed over here.
Yeah, so they like make it a point multiple times in this movie. It's like, all right, you guys, you learned your lesson there. Congratulations. Yes. However, you didn't take the biggest lessons from that, and you made Superman this character that he's not.
Right.
You made Batman
a character that he's not.
Right.
Because, I mean, not going too deep into it, like, Batman straight up kills people in here.
Yeah.
Which is the big problem that Man of Steel had was Superman not protecting civilians. The body count is going up, and there's still a high body count in this movie, and some of it at the hands of Batman. So it's one step forward, two steps backward in that sense.
Yeah, you're almost like expecting like that bodies hit the floor music to just start pumping in.
Oh my God, Drowning Pool, Jesus Christ, high school.
Right, but it's like he's just unloading his machine gun on everything and just wreaking havoc on. There's no calculatedness to it at all. It's just like, all right, this guy's firing at me. I'm using this machine gun and blowing his ass away.
Yeah.
He's not surviving that explosion.
No.
He has no remorse for it. He doesn't give a shit.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a grittier Batman, which is awesome. But at the same time, it's like you're not even trying to understand this character at all.
Right. I mean, he's not bloodthirsty by any means. He's not out to kill people, but he doesn't give a shit if he does. And that's just very against the whole idea of Batman.
Yeah, and it's different. Like even with the Nolan verse, you know, they make it a point. Like it's really hard to make these superhero movies and have like spectacular explosions happening and thinking, well, that guy for sure died.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall parts of it, like they'll still include like Batman fighting with it, like, you know, you have no power over me. You're not going to kill me. I know your weakness. And they talk about that. They mention it multiple times in the trilogy for the Nolan verse. So you understand it and you accept those types of things. And here it's just like, nope, open machine gun fire, murdering.
Yep.
And when he gets into that warehouse, like he has no regard for human life. He's just grabbing people and just throwing them against the walls and slamming them against the ground.
I mean, like that stuff. That's I saw that as incapacitation, but it goes further than that. It goes much further than that.
Yeah, it's like pretty intense. But a large part of me, now that I've seen, like, Batman's one of my favorite characters, and I liked seeing the gritty 20 years into being the Batman.
An experienced Batman.
Someone who is just like, yes, I am going to take these guys down and make sure they're not getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
Batman. So I did enjoy that aspect to it, but it was just like, it missed it a little bit.
A little wide of the mark, yeah.
So story pacing was bad.
Yeah, like I said, there are subplots that don't go anywhere, and that could have easily been cut out.
Mm-hmm. So you're not left with this action-filled movie that some reviewers have said, which is surprising to me. It's like, wait a minute, did you watch the movie?
Yeah, there was kind of, up until the last probably half hour.
Yeah, like the third.
If that, there wasn't a lot of action.
I'll give them the third act as action-packed, but like it took you 2 hours to get there.
Yeah.
I really did like some aspects to it. There's some things that made sense. There's a lot of things that didn't make any sense. I liked Bruce's and Alfred's relationship.
Yeah. Ben Affleck and Jerry Einstein did really well together.
They were awesome. I really enjoyed them.
Good chemistry, you know. Alfred giving Bruce Wayne shit as he should, because he's still acting like a child at times.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I would love to see a full Batman movie and with this cast and see what they would do with it without Zack being the director. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Here,
that would be good.
Okay, so we kind of talked about Soup. We talked about Lois not really doing anything. Wonder Woman, Gal. What'd you think?
She looked the part very well, but I felt that her acting was very wooden and very just flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was the accent or what it was, but there was just no life to what she was doing.
Yeah, it's. I think part of it was the lines. I think part of it was the direction behind it. There was some things. Like Gal has always been a phenomenal person to look at. She is gorgeous. Known her from the Fast Five, Fast and Furious series, and Fast Six. So I've always really enjoyed her, and I was stoked when they announced her as Wonder Woman. Obviously, she's not like a big, huge woman or anything like that. She has more of a model frame.
Right.
But she carries the action very well. She looks great as the part. It's just whenever they gave her lines of dialogue, there was definitely something there that kind of pulled you out of it. Like she was good as Wonder Woman, but she wasn't Diana.
Yeah.
Kind of like how we always argue about the Batmans. You have a great Batman here, but you don't have a great Bruce.
Wayne. Yeah.
That's how I kind of looked at it for Wonder Woman, where it was just like she was great Wonder Woman, but
yeah,
as Diana, she just didn't hold it. So I'm kind of nervous.
And to that fact, I mean, Clark Kent wasn't written as Clark Kent. Clark Kent's this feeble character who just kind of muddles about and just keeps his head down. Is kind of dopey. But in this one, you see him standing up to Perry and talking back to him. I'm like, I don't expect that from Clark Kent.
Yeah, I don't know. It was as weird as it is. I understand the origins of the stories has always been the Daily Planet as a newspaper and stuff like that. But like we're living in that technology now, or we're living in a day and age where a newspaper doesn't make. They're a dying breed. So.
Yeah, I mean, and they talk about that in this movie as well.
Yeah, so it's just weird to see. Like maybe he could have been like a web editorial person or something, or article. Like I don't know.
Yeah, he could have written for BuzzFeed.
Yeah, like it's just weird. I don't know. I can't argue that. It makes sense. It's part of the history of Superman. But you're right. I think Clark was kind of off.
Yeah.
He wasn't interesting enough as Clark. We didn't see him as Clark as much. But when he was Clark, all of the writing was just so poorly written. It was just like, all right. But then even when you look at him as Superman, he is a Adonis. I mean, that dude is just ripped. That guy is
right.
He fills that Superman costume very well.
Right.
But you just don't look at him and think Superman because he has that shit look on his face all the time. Where he looks pissed off.
Right.
Like he doesn't want to be there. Like he's kind of phoned it in.
He's too angry.
Yeah, and
he doesn't instill that sense of hope and wonder.
Right.
There's dread behind it.
Yeah, and I think that's why even like the fake humans in the movie, or the humans in this movie, our society kind of looks at him both ways. It's not a universal love because of the fact that this dude just looks like he's going to murder everybody at any minute. He looks on edge all the time. And it just doesn't work that way for Superman. For Batman, obviously it works. He's the vigilante. People aren't supposed to like him. They are supposed to be scared of him. Criminals would fear this Batman. If they knew that he was coming for you, they'd be scared shitless of this dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense. But Supes, no, not at all. It's not him.
No, not at all.
All right, what else do you want to talk about in the non-spoiler section here? All right, let's get it out of the way. Lex Luthor.
Alexander Luthor, the son of Lex Luthor, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think
he's supposed to be the comic relief.
I guess. Like, I think Jesse Eisenberg did a good job of playing that character. I just did not like the character.
The character was bad, yeah.
Yeah.
And because the script was so dark, they needed a tone, a lighter character. So they decided to use not Lex, but his son, and give him this eccentric genius type of personality that does not work well.
Yeah, and very unhinged as well.
like no one would want to work with this guy.
Right.
Like if he's supposed to like own LexCorp and all that stuff, like you would not want to deal with LexCorp at all because you'd have to deal with this idiot.
Right. He definitely seems like he should have been locked away a while ago.
So his great plans and all of his genius just doesn't work. It doesn't make much sense. The way that he forces events to occur feel forced.
Very forced. Like it's not I mean, yes, it's not Lex Luthor, but still, it's not the forethought you would expect from that type of villain.
Yeah,
It's very haphazard and not thought out.
Lex is one of the greatest villains in not just DC, but like in all of comic books. He is one of the best. He is the genius. He could beat Superman because he's smarter than him. He outthinks the brawn. But this variation or this version of Lex is just you don't think about
exactly. The traditional Lex is thinking 10 steps ahead. This Lex didn't even think about the next move they would make. It is very impulsive for what he did.
Mm-hmm. And it's it ties into the poor script. It didn't make much sense. All of these things like take so long to get where they need to go, and then a lot of them just don't make any sense. And this is supposed to be the bridge to the Justice League movie.
Which, yeah.
So they have to shoehorn in some of the Justice League members.
Which is just done awfully, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. Because I was thinking about this too. Like, wait a minute. That is kind of stupid. Because you don't actually see them. You get video files of them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the three is cool, maybe?
Which one?
I would go Cyborg.
I found that fucking dark and disturbing.
Well, it was dark and disturbing, but I thought that was the coolest one of the three.
Yeah.
The other, the Aquaman kind of just stares at you.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And like, okay, that's all right. And then Flash is kind of Flash.
Like
He kind of teleports.
It was boring surveillance video, but yeah.
Yeah. It just there's so much wrong with this movie.
A lot.
And I was really excited about it. Like leading up to it, my excitement level. Okay, let me start off with I hated everything that I saw for it, like in terms of trailers and everything like that. Like I was really having really low expectations. However, like a day or two leading up to it, I was excited that we were seeing it that Thursday. And
I had no clue why you were.
Exactly.
I was completely baffled.
I didn't know why either. You were probably thinking I was joking, but in all honesty, like I was like, I'm going to see Batman and Wonder Woman on screen. I'm so stoked about this.
No, like the strange thing was, I knew you weren't joking. I knew you were genuinely excited, and I couldn't understand it at all. At all.
And I was all out of nowhere because everything leading up to it, I was not excited about it. But I just. It was like leading up to that event, and then I watched it, and I saw the Christopher Nolan the scene or that moment. I'm like, oh shit, and that kind of just put me exactly right back where I was before I was excited for this movie. I'm like, yep, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, there's so many dream sequences in this movie. There's just random stuff, and
oh god, those fucking dream sequences.
That's the thing about it. Like, Zach has all these great visual ideas in his head, and then he tries to force them into movies that don't necessarily belong in there. I made Alex sit through Sucker Punch for the first time like a week ago or a week and a half ago.
Yeah, something like that.
And I mean, that my biggest thing about that is Zach had 5 music videos in his head, and he's like, I'm gonna make this a movie. So he had each one of those ideas all different from each other, and then kind of tried to string them along in the stupidest story ever known to man, and to make a movie out of it. And it obviously just doesn't work. So like I think that Man of Steel was one of those at the very beginning of it. We're on Krypton, and like that those scenes on Krypton felt like one of those leftover ideas from Sucker Punch.
Okay.
And that's what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like it was Man of Steel movie. It was like, this is just something that he cut off of Sucker Punch and threw into a different movie.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
So that's what it felt like. And then, like, with this movie, he adds dream sequences and just weird shit. And it's just like, this doesn't belong in a Batman v Superman movie. Stop doing this. Stop letting him do this.
Right, and I hate when they use dream sequences to try to progress the story, which they did. Like, a dream sequence gives a hint that there's no reason you would have gotten that hint at all. It's dumb. It's fucking cheap. And it's lazy filmmaking and writing.
Are you referring to the one that Bruce Wayne has where he's visited by somebody?
Yeah.
Like, I want to talk about that in the spoiler section, so don't let me forget. But I want to figure out that a little bit more, so I want to talk about it. But you're right, that does try to progress the story. And it's just a dream. He wakes up, he's like, okay, now I got this idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's no creativeness to the script where it's all lazy stuff. It's like,
very.
it just drives me
It's
nuts.
not clever at all.
No, and then I love reading these reviews. I can't get enough of it. I'm obsessed with reading reviews now and watching reviews. This is how I was when Star Wars: The Force Awakens came out.
Oh yeah, you were bad with that.
I could not stop watching or reading these things, and now I feel like I'm doing the same thing just because I want to I'm trying to understand what people see in these great reviews for the movie that I'm not seeing. And a lot of the reviews are just like, well, it wasn't good, but it was okay. It was not bad. It's like 5 stars. It's like, what?
No, yeah, you don't.
Like,
I don't think you understand the concept of 5 stars there, sir. Or ma'am.
Yeah, people love it. I don't know. It's just a weird culmination of these reviews. But as we kind of talked about earlier, 29% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And it deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not that much redeeming. We didn't even talk about the third act yet. But I think we'll save that for the spoiler section.
There's a lot of spoilers in that spot, so.
Yeah, but like, this is one of those movies that you get a lot from the trailers. There's not too much left to it when you look at the trailer and then you watch the movie and you're like, all right, well.
I mean, because the plot is so paper thin, there's not much to conceal within the trailers.
Yeah, so this movie definitely suffers from that. And it's just, like, I feel like I'm able to talk about it because it was in all the trailers. So if you saw the trailers, I should be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's it.
Yeah.
There's not much else to this movie. There really isn't. I mean, you even got to see the cool Batman fight scene in the trailer. They should not have put that in a trailer.
Right. Well, that was probably the best scene out of the movie.
And I was honestly waiting for it to happen. I'm like, man, we're like 2 hours into this. Where's this scene at?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, here it comes. Thankfully. And I was just surprised by that. They need to stop doing that with movies. All right, what else can we talk about in the non-spoiler section?
I don't know. I think we kind of touch on everything we can at this point.
All right, fair enough. So, final review. I mean, it's really not much. Obviously, you're going to see this movie. It made like $27 million on Thursday.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So everybody is seeing this. It's sold out at a lot of places over the weekend already. It's a holiday weekend, so people are going to go to the movies. They're going to see the big blockbusters, Miracles from Heaven.
And apparently my big fat Greek wedding too is doing gangbusters as well, which surprises me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting box office numbers this weekend, but Batman v Superman is definitely going to make a lot of money. But even from a studio perspective, you have to think like, shit, these reviews aren't very good. What are we going to do about Justice League?
Well, I mean, weren't they saying that? Wasn't it the production company saying that?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you get some random stories out there. They're like, maybe Zach won't be directing that, or you hear concern.
Yeah.
from them, and a great indication of that is they'll do test screens when a movie is good. They know when they have 100% confidence in a movie that's just going to own it. You'll get test screenings way early.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get, because they'll get feedback and that buzz goes out there. But when a movie's bad and they feel that it's bad, you'll get maybe 1 or 2 test screenings, but they'll control the shit out of the social media aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it started leaking that the movie wasn't very good. And they just didn't put nearly the effort into putting those screenings out there to find out more information.
Mm-hmm.
They had no confidence in this movie after watching it. And now that we watched it, I 100% agree that this does not make a jumping point for a Justice League movie.
No.
The Justice League are heroes. They're just like icons. They're gods. They're gods amongst men and positive ones that save people. And then you've just established in 2 films a really dark, brooding universe that the Justice League doesn't fit in.
That they're not trusted.
Yeah, it's weird how they're doing it. And I think that they're going to get a lot of backlash for it.
Yeah, like how are they going to portray these characters as the beacon of hope and light that everyone turns to when they're at their darkest? Because fucking everything about this is dark, even the heroes, and
even the way it's filmed, most of it's at night,
right?
I mean,
they don't portray the superhero image you expect from the Justice League.
Mm-mm. And if they're going to make it in this tone, it would not be enjoyable to watch.
No. Not at all. It will be depressing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy aspects to it. I mean, a lot of the Marvel movies are very lighthearted. They deal with these types of issues where, like, are superheroes good or bad? And we're going to deal with that in Captain America Civil War. But they do it in such a way that it still makes it, you understand that these are still heroes.
Right.
Justice League, they're doing it where, like, holy shit, these people are a menace. Like, we're scared to shit of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just doing it a completely opposite, wrong way. And this movie goes out of its way to really hit over your head, like, gods and men and fighting and, like, is it good or bad? And
they ask it so many times, but they never come to a conclusion.
Right.
They never fall on any side of it.
Yeah, so I mean that's one of the underlining threads throughout the movie that doesn't go anywhere, and it's just so poorly done, and it's sad because I really wanted to like this movie, and I left the theater
very disappointed,
like disappointed and like trying to find ways to excuse like the third act and how the third act looked, and trying to be like, all right, well, you know what? At least the third act was like entertaining. It was enjoyable. I guess. Like, yeah. I was trying to find ways to enjoy it.
It's because they actually had action in that one.
Right. But you had cool team-up moments that we'll talk about in the spoiler section that could have been cooler.
Mm-hmm.
But they wasted that. So, why don't we get to the spoiler section here? How can we reach you?
You can follow me on Twitter. My name there is Alex Sandberg, AlexSandberg, or email me directly at the website, alex@lostlevel.com.
You sound like a 70-year-old woman who smoked her whole entire life.
I feel like a 70-year-old woman that smoked her entire life.
It sounds amazing. So yeah, I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/calmintensity. I'm on Instagram, Chris is calm on there. If you want to follow Lost Level on social media, lostlevel.com is our website. In the upper right-hand corner that we have all of the links. We'd really appreciate, we're making a push for YouTube. If you can go on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button for us and follow us there. We'd really appreciate it. And then hang out for our spoiler section.
I'm going to go to Vegas and hit the slots and watch Tony Bennett.
It sounds like you said sluts.
Sluts. Slots. Sluts, whatever. Same difference.
All right, hang out for our spoiler section.
Spoilers.
Jesus.
Sound like a fucking foghorn.
I was about to say, that was a foghorn. That is amazing. Yeah. So, where do we want to start? I guess we'll start in the third act because we didn't really get to talk about it in the non-spoiler section here. Doomsday. Dumb concept to begin with. Dumber in I guess reality. I guess when they
you mean dumb concept from the fact that they're bringing him into this movie, right?
Yeah, right.
Yes. I mean, the idea behind Doomsday in the comics pretty fucking cool, and here, no.
Well, because
no.
they bring Doomsday in, they have to do the death of Superman, because that is Doomsday.
Yeah.
So now you have the death of Superman in this movie,
which is fucking stupid, dude. It's so dumb.
But it was emotional, according to the 5-star reviews. And
no, it wasn't, because fucking this is not the Messiah character that Superman's supposed to be. He is not the beacon of light. He is not the Boy Scout. He is not that pillar of hope that everyone turns to, that everyone roots for. He is something that people fear, and that has been established throughout the movie. So him dying holds no weight because no one gives a shit. Very few people give a shit.
No, there's those weird cult-like people where he saved in South America? Where he saved a woman, he slowly floats down and delivers her to her loved ones, and everybody kind of comes up to him and starts touching him like he is the Messiah.
Extending their palms to him, yeah.
Very, very Zack Snyder shot, trying to get his point across with the Jesus stuff.
Right.
Aside from those people, the other people are scared shitless of this guy. So they didn't even know what to do with him. So they're like, well, we just give him a military funeral. Fuck it.
Exactly.
It's like, oh my God, even in your writing, you know that you didn't set this up at all. That's how poor this is. And obviously, you know they're not going to kill Superman.
No, yes, they're not going to have the leader of the Justice League be dead for the first Justice League movie.
There's no weight behind killing the character. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if it's the last Superman movie, maybe, I'm like, all right, yeah, we're going to kill him off. Fuck it. Okay, fine. But you know there's so many movies coming out. This isn't like a Game of Thrones death or a Walking Dead death.
This
where you're like, oh my God, they killed that guy?
No, this is a straight up comic book death where you're like, I wonder how they're going to bring him back.
Yeah, like, 6 months from now, they're bringing them back. Oh my God, it just drives me nuts.
Oh, it was so poorly executed. I mean, let's talk about how he died. Fucking a kryptonite spear. It's a spear, motherfucker. You could have thrown it at Doomsday, or at least to Wonder Woman, or Batman, or someone that is not affected by kryptonite and can drive it into Doomsday and kill him.
Yeah, as you're flying by your two pals, throw the spear at the really strong super chick who seems to have as much power as you. Throw the spear at her and be like, hey, throw this for me because it's weakening me.
And honestly, she has, some training in weapons because she's using a sword and shield. So she has...
Skillfully.
Yes.
She's doing it very skillfully.
She has that pedigree. She can do it very well.
I would have trust watching this woman like, yes, you can throw this spear where I can't because it is killing me.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool team-up move. Like when you first saw, I'm going to use an Avengers reference, you saw the team together and they're fighting off, and you got Iron Man shooting in the Cap's shield, deflecting it, and just killing aliens. Like, yeah, perfect team up. You guys could have had that moment.
But you didn't.
You didn't. You let him die for no fucking reason.
But like, no, I got this, Superman. Yeah, it's cool. I got it.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it didn't. It was cheap. It was a cheap attempt to get emotion out of a very emotionless movie.
Yeah, and then the Doomsday, I thought, like, as he fought, they did the right thing by having him transforming and having more spikes come out of him as they fought. But he still didn't look like traditional Doomsday at the end of it.
That's fine. I don't care if he looked like traditional Doomsday.
I wanted him to look more like Doomsday instead of a
With the
Ninja
mullet?
Turtle. I wanted that rather than the Ninja Turtle look.
Fair enough.
Because he looked like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. He could have been a little bit more spiky, I guess.
Just around his face area, so he didn't look like fucking...
yeah, his face was too round.
Michelangelo. Like, it just... And then that whole entire thing with Lex, just... Lex's storyline, where he, like, learns the secrets of the universe through the computer, and... just...
Yeah.
Alright, what else can we talk about here? That's the third act. Lex didn't work.
The fight, the motivation behind the fight between Batman and Superman was dumb.
Oh yeah, it was completely implausible.
Like it made sense for Superman to go to Batman, but Batman calling him out and wanting to fight him was dumb and just made no sense. And
we even had a training montage, now that I think about it. We had a traditional training montage.
Oh, God. Yeah. Movie. Oh, that was awful, too.
I completely forgot about that. I'm like, wait a minute. Training montage!
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to talk about the score in the damn...
Oh, that's fine. You can talk about it now.
The score was horrible.
Bad score. Bad music. There's something else you wanted to talk about, which I don't remember.
I don't remember. But, yeah, so the reason for the fight was dumb. I felt that despite Bruce wanting to fight him so bad, he would hear him out a little bit. Be like, hey, this dude is blackmailing me to murder you. I don't want to fight you.
Right. And he's trying to talk to him, and Batman's like, nope, not going to listen because I'm Batman and I'm angry.
Right, like Superman doesn't kill you with words. He's kind of just floating there, like, hey, do you have a minute? Can we talk about...
Can we just, like, have, like, a real, like, cool, chill moment? Like, let's stop throwing our dicks around.
Yeah, but no. Fight.
Yeah. Okay, what else you want to talk about was the dream sequence.
The dream sequence? The fight choreography in the dream sequence?
Well, no, not that, but the one where he's visited.
The visited one. Was that supposed to be Flash?
I don't know. I assume so.
You have lightning around him. I don't know what that character looks like. I don't know the actor who plays the Flash in the movie, so I didn't recognize him, and I don't know if it was him. I think it was the Flash going through time, because that's one of his powers. That's one of the trademarks in the comics, so I'm assuming that's what they were going with. It was definitely not clear. But Flash goes, I'm going to say, all right, the dream sequence, Flash goes through time, but then it's still in a dream sequence, what makes it weirder and doesn't make much sense. So now he can travel through time and through people's dreams like he's Freddy Krueger.
Right.
I'm confused by that. But anyways, Flash tells him Lois is the key because they needed Lois to do something in the movie. So they're like, Lois is the key.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Okay. Lois is the key.
Now I know exactly what to do.
Training montage. But yeah, that, and then I was also thinking about the fight choreography is not very good in this movie. Like,
in that one scene, yeah, that one desert dream sequence.
The desert dream sequence fight choreography was one of the most outstandingly bad fight choreographies I've seen in a long, long time. Because you have all these people who are shooting at Batman, but they're like, oh, my bullets aren't working against him. I'm going to move closer and shoot him. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You have a ranged weapon.
Right.
It's ranged. You don't need to go up to him and shoot him in the face. Just shoot him. And they go closer so then Batman can grab him and do, judo or whatever he's going to do to dismantle this guy. It looks bad. And I justified it in my head thinking dream sequence. In dream sequences, you don't walk that fast, or you're trying to run but you're stuck in quicksand type of thing. That's how I justified it in my head. You pointed me like no, that was just being bad.
Essentially, yeah. you're making an excuse for something there was no excuse for.
And that's the problem. I was trying to make excuses for a lot of this stuff. I was trying to justify why stuff is in this movie, and I can't justify it, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going through the IMDb page to see if they have a cast for that one weird traveling guy, but I don't see anything.
Because I think it's The Flash.
Oh, maybe.
I honestly think it was The Flash, but they just did it poorly enough that it doesn't make any sense that he travels through time into somebody's dream.
Right.
So yeah.
And fucking, did they really kill Jimmy Olsen? Was that Jimmy Olsen in the beginning? Because looking at it right now, it looks like it was supposed to be Jimmy Olsen.
Which one's Jimmy Olsen?
The photographer that had the tracking beacon in the camera or whatever. That was...
Where's Jimmy Olsen? Oh. No, because Jimmy Olsen is supposed to be a CIA... Or that was a CIA guy.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I don't think that was Jimmy Olsen.
Weird. Yeah, sure. Maybe not. But
why is Lois doing all this shit?
It's because they want to give her a role.
And, like, she gets access to everything and anything. Like, even in Man of Steel, like, the ship that she was involved in was so absurd. They would not let a reporter into all this shit. And they keep doing it in these movies. They're like, oh, need a damsel in distress. But then Lex knew that Superman would save her and leads to all this bullshit.
Right.
Like, God damn it. Why is your plot so stupid?
Because they need to get to the visuals. They need to move this along so they can get to the epic Justice League movie.
I am getting so mad at reading and listening to the visuals are amazing.
Yeah. That only carries the movie so far, guys.
And that's how everybody leads it, because there's nothing else to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that the movie was well paced. You can't say that it was a great story. You can't say any of that because it's not true.
Yeah. Not even all the action sequences weren't that great.
Yeah, I just complained about choreography for one of the action sequences. Aside from the third act, which is where all of the majority of the action takes place. There's. Aside from Affleck and the way Wonder Woman looks and is played and is a badass, I can't think of anything else that was redeemable from this movie or a takeaway from this movie.
There's
Alfred. Alfred was great.
Yeah, we kind of said that earlier. We said Jeremy and I did a great job, and the chemistry between the two was good.
Yeah, so then those are the takeaways that I take away from this movie, from a 2.5 hour movie. And it breaks my heart, because I really liked Affleck. And he doesn't deserve the sad meme that's already starting.
Oh, God, that sad meme's fantastic. It breaks my heart, but it's fantastic.
It is so perfect. Just him sitting there in a review, and
he's just probably thinking it's like, it's okay. You have an Oscar.
Yeah,
you're good.
If you haven't seen it yet, I gotta look it up. Maybe we'll link it in our thing, in our post. But it's a reporter asking them about like the early bad reviews that the movie's getting, and it's him and Henry Cavill just sitting there, and Superman kind of just starts talking about like how he feels, and it completely drowns him out. But Ben Affleck is sitting there just looking down at the ground and just staring off into his own thoughts.
Yeah.
And it looks so sad, played by I don't know what that song name is. But
Oh, Darkness, My Old Friend.
Yeah. It's just so...
Oh, no, that's the...
Oh, is that what it's
perfect,
called?
I think so. Maybe.
But it's so...
It's the perfect song for it.
So perfect. So we'll have to link that in the post. But yeah, all right. I really don't have anything else to say. I think we've exhausted Batman
we
v
have,
Superman.
And my voice can't take any more of this.
Well, we still need to record Miracles of Heaven.
Shut your fucking mouth.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.